then, is it that time? As Jared sips his coffee and stares at me across the board.
It is that time.
It is that time? It's time for Student of the Gun Radio. Time for part 2 of this week's episode of Student of the Gun Radio. Brought to you by Ronco, makers of the Slap Chop. I don't know. Of Mr. Microphone. Speaking of microphones, we're back behind the black carbon steel microphones. Feeling a little bit giddy right now. I don't even know why. I just am. But we've got one more segment to give you guys, and we've got a lot of good news. We got some good news, some weird news, and some depressing news, and we're going to give it all to you because that's what we do. We like to give it all to you. That's what we're all about here at Student of the Gun. Is that not right, Jared?
Yeah, that's what it's all about here. It's
That's what we're all about. So thank you to our friends Excess Sights, Brownells, Colt, and SWAT Fuel. SWAT Fuel, the newest sponsor of Student of the Gun Radio. Check them out at swatfuel.com.
Is that why you're all giddy?
No, I didn't. I had a good night's sleep. I didn't have any SWAT Fuel.
Okay.
It's SWAT Fuel gets you through when you need that extra kick in the butt, or you want to work out and you want to work out seriously.
SWAT Fuel, it kicks like a mule.
Oh, wow. I don't think they're going to use that. I'm thinking that they're not going to use that one. That is not the official.
I'm not a very good poet, sorry.
And he knows it. But tell them about Brownells in case you missed it in the first episode. And
Brownells is a company that sells gun parts to the American public, and they have a large website. And
shut up.
Oh, okay.
No, Brownells.com. Go to Brownells.com. And because you're a student of the gun, because you listen to our show, we've got a special bonus for you. And the special bonus is this. If you buy $75 or more, spend $75 or more, put in the promo code. It's three letters. PFV, or Papa Foxtrot Victor, for you military-minded suckers out there. And you will get free shipping on your order if it's $75 or more. And that is because you are a student of the gun, and we like you. We like to give you stuff. Now, folks, we've got something really silly here. It's not really surprising. It's the definition of insanity, is it not, Jared?
Yeah, it definitely is.
We've got the definition of insanity, and of course, the definition of insanity comes to us from a slave state.
I like to teach you all the rules. I get to see them set in stone. I like it when you chain me to the bed, but then you see.
Yeah, we're back in Illinois. We're back in the People's Republic of Illinois. And a week or so back, while you were out celebrating the 4th of July with your family and friends, and you're having your hot dogs and hamburgers and shooting off fireworks and stuff because, well, shooting off fireworks if you live in free America. If you live in a slave state, they probably won't allow you to do that. But, and we did, Jared and I, we spent the 4th of July it was very nice for us. Wasn't it, Jared?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. We went up to Kentucky to our buddy Charles, and we stayed at his house. We were on our way to the 4-H camp, so it was Dad, me, my sister Paxton, and my brother Zach, and we all got to enjoy the 4th of July with a pretty awesome neighborhood fireworks show.
Yeah, we actually this is some good news. This is some positive news. We spent the day with our buddy Charles and Julie and Adam, their family there, and they live in a very, very nice community south of Louisville, Kentucky. Live outside of Louisville, Kentucky. And the really, I guess, the gratifying thing that we saw, that we experienced, was the entire community. It's like a group of houses there, a little out in the kind of out in the county, but they all get together on the 4th of July, and it's like a block party. People put up little canopies in their front lawns, and they grill, and neighbors just walk from house to house to shaking hands and having adult beverages and eating hamburgers and all that good stuff. And then in the evening, at the end of the day, they have a community fireworks show, and the dads in the community all go out. And they I don't know, they drive over to Indiana or they do something. They get the good stuff, kind of like Joe Dirt. You got to have the good stuff, not just snakes and sparklers. And they go out and they get the good stuff, and they put on a fireworks show for the community. And they put on, I tell you what, for being a block party community fireworks show, it was fantastic. It went on for what, a half an hour or more?
Probably almost an hour.
It was wild. So, and regardless of the hamburgers and adult beverages and sparklers and fireworks and what have you, what was really the most important about that event was the fact that you had neighbors emerge from their houses, husbands, wives, kids, aunts and uncles and friends, and they all spent time together as a community. And folks, do I need to tell you that we need more of that in the United States of America versus less? We need more community. We need more people coming out and spending time with each other as opposed to hiding in their basements playing Xbox or what have you. And that was, that was America. That was what it's supposed to be all about. And we had a great time. But while we were having a great time 4th of July weekend, spending it with our friends, up in the People's Republic of Illinois, specifically in the city of Chicago, there was a whole weekend worth of bloodletting. And you're like, oh, that's not funny. Well, it's ironic, and I'm going to tell you why it's ironic. Because what do we know? We know that the state of Illinois and Cook County and the city of Chicago have some of the most, if not the most, restrictive gun laws in the United States of America. We talked about that before. You got Chicago and you got New York City and you got Washington, D.C., and they're all fighting for the top ranking of most restrictive gun laws in America. We got to keep them peasants from owning guns and, only one gun a month. And in little Rahm Emanuel wants you to be videotaped while you're buying a gun, and they want that video, and you're one gun a month, and while you're doing that you need to be videotaped, and that video that needs to be available to the government in case they want to go and look at it, and all this gun control. But according to the story, Chicago's historically anti-gun police chief, Gary the Enforcer McCarthy, lashed out against gun control laws once again following one of Chicago's bloodiest weekends in history. It says over 80 people were shot in Chicago over the holiday weekend. Now you're like, hold on, hold the phone. What do we know about Illinois? We've talked about it ad nauseum here on the Student of the Gun Radio about their assault weapons restrictions and about their restrictions on carry and about your limit on the number of guns you can buy and all that jazz. And what do we have up in Illinois, Jared? What is that little magical permission slip that you have to get from the government to buy a gun?
I believe they call that the FOID card, the Firearms Owner's Identification Card. Yes. And this dude is insane.
So we've got...
Obviously, he's literally insane.
When you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, you are an insane person. Or you know that it's wrong. You know that it's not right. You're a liar. You have an agenda. And when you have an agenda, the truth doesn't matter. Facts don't matter. All that matters is your agenda. And here we go. According to the Communist News Network, it's a quote from the Communist News Network, says Chicago's police superintendent lashed out at what he called lax state and federal gun laws after the violent 4th of July weekend that saw more than 60 people shot. Now he says 80 and 9 killed in a city already known for frequent shootings. Here's a quote from the enforcer. There has to come a tipping point where this changes, said Gary the Enforcer. And then he went on to say, the illogical nature of what's happening here, that government can intercede and prevent this from happening, is overwhelming. And I refuse to think otherwise in a great country like America, that we can continue to allow this to happen, not just on a state, but on a federal level. Okay, if you got that gobbledygook from the enforcer right there, so what he's saying, he's ripping lax state and federal gun laws. So the enforcer thinks that the gun laws in Illinois are not tough enough, that's what you need are more gun laws.
Did you see the the part where it says possession of a loaded firearm, it's not even considered a violent felony in the state of Illinois. So he wants possession of a loaded firearm in itself to be considered a violent felony.
So, all right. So let me.
The cops are all violent felons.
Let me break this down for you. If you have a firearm and it's loaded and it's in your possession, not your permission, then what Gary thinks is that should be a felony. What? Hey, Gary, maybe someone should, maybe if just one, Jared, you know what? What's a shame is that Gary gets in front of these sycophants, these media people. They call themselves journalists, but all they are is really cheerleaders for the Democrat Party. We know it. Don't write me letters because it's true. They're sycophants. He gets in front of them. He gets in front of their cameras. He calls into their radio shows, and he spouts off all this ridiculous garbage. And nobody ever has the courage or the fortitude to say to Gary, hey, Gary, is murder illegal? Is it against the law to rape and rob and assault people? Is assault with a deadly weapon, is assault with a deadly weapon against the law, Gary? Is there a law against that? And of course, you know, Gary would know he's being set up, so he would get frustrated, and he'd probably go get a baseball. He'd get a Louisville Slugger and break your kneecaps. But, well, he would have to admit, if he was on the stand, if I could get Gary on the stand and cross-examine him, I would say, Gary, in your time as an enforcer, have you ever encountered a situation where murder was not against the law? Well, no, murder is against the law. Okay, very good. Thank you, Gary. So in Illinois, it is illegal to murder people. Check. It is illegal to rape. Check. It is illegal to commit a felonious assault against someone with a firearm. Check. Attempted murder. You shoot at people feloniously. Not justifiably, but feloniously. Is that against the law, Gary? Yes. Then why is it still happening? Cricket.
Because he can't enforce his own laws, apparently.
So what you're telling me, Gary, is it's illegal to murder people or to attempt to murder people or to assault people, rape, rob, and all that good stuff. That's illegal, but it still happens. So your solution, Gary, is more laws and tougher laws. Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, do we not see? Right? And I can't believe that the enforcer, that he actually believes this garbage coming out of his mouth. Do you think that Gary believes it, or do you think he's just a political tool and he's part of the machine? And so as a part of the corrupt Chicago machine, he has to say whatever he's told to say.
I think everybody involved in politics from Chicago is a political tool.
I mean, he got little Rami Emanuel up there says that we need to videotape all firearms transactions so that the government can watch it and see. And now I got a question for you. Let's go back to the Floyd card thing. Hey, Gary, how many of these shootings were committed by people that were in possession of Floyd cards? Did you catch any of them, Gary? Did they catch any of them? I want to know how many. So, and not only that, but Gary pulls the perfect socialism card. He pulls the socialist card there. That Illinois, Chicago is such a cesspool. It's such a violent cesspool of crime and villainy that what is his default? Oh, the federal government needs to step in and do something. Of course, that's the socialist playbook, is that there's got to be a government program that can fix this. We need to reach out and allow the federal government to have greater control over our daily lives. That, according to Gary, that's the solution.
How about we stop funding the federal government's programs that don't work? How about that?
Oh, did you see as an accompaniment to this story? And this story comes to us from GunsSaveLives.net. They're not we're not friends with them officially, but we use a lot of their material. They're pretty good about finding these stories and reposting them, and quite frankly, it makes it easy for us to find. But did you see as an accompaniment to this story, Jared, that there's the moms demanding more bedroom action? They chimed in as well.
Down here where it looks like a Twitter post.
Yeah,
it says, weak federal gun laws led to deadly holiday weekend in Chicago. Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know what.
How do you even address the insanity, the just total intellectual dishonesty, the propaganda in that? So moms demanding more bedroom action. They tweet, because that's how we communicate with each other today, that they put a picture up of police tape and a police car, and it says, police line do not cross there. And so that's supposed to tug at your heartstrings. And it says, weak federal gun laws lead to deadly holiday weekend in Chicago. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding?
That's what happens when you let someone who judges off of feelings instead of factual information.
When we know that they're funded by Nanny Bloomberg. We know that he funnels money to them, and that's all you got to do is follow the money.
I think if they want to take our gun rights, we should take their freedom of speech rights. How about that? We'll let ours go if they let theirs go.
There's a trade, dude. Jared just. Do you see that? That just landed.
If she shuts up,
yeah. Here's the deal. What's the mom that's not getting enough?
Who cares what her name is?
Whatever. That the lead chick there that's not getting enough bedroom action. We need to get her on, and we'll do a trade. We'll give up our guns if you give up the right to vote and to speak in public. Does that sound like a fair trade?
How about we'll give up our guns if she'll go to the
I'll give up one of my guns if she'll come here to the Student of the Gun Studios and stand in our break room and make me a sandwich.
Okay, yeah, let's do that one.
Okay. Find out who this chick is and tell her I'll give up one of my guns if she'll come to the Student of the Gun break room, stand in my break room.
I'll throw in one of mine too. So barefoot. That's two guns.
She's got to stand in there barefoot.
Okay, yeah.
She has to make me a sandwich.
There we go.
And if she'll do that, then I'll give up one of my guns. How's that?
Maybe we could do for each sandwich.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'll give her one round of HydroShock. I'll hand her one round of HydroShock, and that way it won't be in my possession anymore.
Is it going to come with a Kimber or just the HydroShock?
No, just the HydroShock to start. What do you think? You think we've stumbled upon something?
If we're going to give up something, she's got to do something.
That's right. That's right. What do you folks think out there in the Student of the Gun audience? You think that's a fair trade? Think that's a fair trade?
I can hear the keys being hit really hard right now. We're going to get letters from men. We're going to get letters from men on this saying that.
No, we're not going to get letters from men.
Boys.
No, eunuchs. We're going to get letters from eunuchs. Okay. All right, moving on. So, what do we know? We know today's lesson, boys and girls, is we have two choices. Gary, the Enforcer McCarthy from Chicago, is either A, an insane person that is not to be trusted because he doesn't know what he's saying, or B, he's a complete and total disingenuous liar, and he's just carrying the water for the state. And the state's goal is what? What is our agenda? Is that you peasants don't get to have guns anymore. I don't know how more gun laws are going to stop these the criminals, the gang members, from murdering and killing each other. We're not concerned about that. We're concerned about you. Yeah, I registered as a Republican. I have a job. I pay my taxes. We cannot allow you to own guns because it's your fault that all these gangbang scuzzbags up in Chicago are murdering people. It's your fault. All you freedom-loving people in Illinois, if you just realize how wrong you were and voluntarily give up more of your rights, then all this gang violence would go away. So we thought you'd appreciate that. A little bit of insanity there from the People's Republic of Illinois. Now, staying in that same neighborhood, in the neighborhood of, that kind of northwest, kind of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois.
It's one of the
Dude, you know what we got going here? We've got kind of like a Big Ten trifecta.
Yeah.
The Big Ten. We've got the Ohio, Illinois. I don't know if Illinois is part of the Big Ten, and I don't really care. But we've got this story. It comes to us. Actually, it was shared with us.
It was shared. Are you changing the English language now?
It was shared.
Hashtag YOLO.
Shut up. All right. This story actually was shared with us by one of our Student of the Gun fans. We always appreciate you guys out there keeping us in mind. And this comes to us from NWITimes.com. And NWI Times, it's Indiana.
Is it like Northwest Indiana?
Northwest Indiana Times, yeah. So it says, legislature in no rush to take on gun violence. And you're like, what? You mean they're not going to run and have an emergency session? And the opening paragraph says, Hoosiers hoping for fast action by state lawmakers addressing the gun violence. Oh, man. I may have to duct tape my head before I finish reading this sentence, because that may be the only way to keep it from exploding. Because you'd like to think that this story is written it supports the legislature. It's not. Listen to the verbiage. Listen to how this story is worded, the way it is worded. Indianapolis, Dateline, Indianapolis. Hoosiers, and for those of you that went to public schools or who live in Florida, a Hoosier is a person who resides in the state of Indiana. Okay. Hoosiers hoping for fast action by state lawmakers addressing the gun violence responsible for the recent shooting deaths of Gary and Indianapolis police officers probably shouldn't hold their breath. Let's dissect that sentence for just one moment, shall we? According to, let me see, this story was written by Dan Carden of NWI.com. According to Dan Carden, Hoosiers hoping for fast action. That's the people, according to him, the people of Indiana are clamoring for the state lawmakers to act fast to address the, quote, gun violence responsible for the recent shooting deaths. Let me pause for a second here. Jared, are there guns in this room?
Yeah, there's a fair amount.
More than one. Should I be afraid? Are the guns in this room going to, at some point in time, come to life and kill me?
If you would like to...
Is this like a Disney movie where inanimate objects just come to life? Is it like Fantasia?
If you would like to be part of the vagination, then maybe you could be afraid.
Maybe in the minds of people like Dan Carden, maybe the world is like Fantasia. And for those of you that just grew up in the last 20 years, Fantasia was a movie where Mickey Mouse was a wizard apprentice, and the mops and brooms and buckets and stuff all came to life and danced around the room. Maybe in their minds, rifles and shotguns and pistols magically come to life and dance around the room and then decide to start shooting people. Because according to him here, the gun violence responsible for recent shooting deaths, and you shouldn't hold your breath waiting for that. So, Dan, go ahead, Jared.
I was just going to say, so you got within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 words of each other, you have gun violence and shooting deaths.
So, according to Dan and his ilk, I'm sure Gary the enforcer would be on board with this. Guns in and of themselves. How about vile criminal human beings? How about vile and dangerous human behavior? How about the behaviors and the actions of the human vermin, of the criminals? Now, we're just going to... Nowhere in this do they say, oh, yeah, verminous scumbags murdered police officers. No. And it goes on to say, on Tuesday, Senate President David Long, Republican, Fort Wayne, dismissed the idea of a General Assembly that the General Assembly might immediately act to stem the bloodbath that has claimed dozens of Hoosiers' lives this year and has several cities on track for record numbers of homicides. All right, let's put a pin in that real quick. All right, well, let's go back to that. All right, so what this guy's doing is he's calling them out, and he said that they need to have an immediate session to stem the bloodbath. Okay, because what do we know? If we have more laws, that stops crime, right? Oh, you mean it doesn't? The bloodbath that has claimed dozens of Hoosiers' lives. Now, Gary in Indianapolis, we've talked about Gary, Indiana before during a previous episode of Student of the Gun. If you're not hip to your northwestern, kind of like Great Lakes geography there, and what goes on up there, you've got Chicago and you've got Detroit and you've got Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana, since I was a teenager, I've known that Gary, Indiana is a cesspool. And we talked about that during a previous episode when the guy walked into the was it a bingo parlor or something and started robbing people, and the guy come from the back door or back room and shot him. Gary, Indiana is a cesspool. It is a nasty, vile, criminal-filled town. And it has been, not just last year, not just the year before that. It's been that way for decades. And guess what has always been in Gary, Indiana? Murder has always been illegal in Gary, Indiana. And yet, miraculously, it has not stopped murder. So the Senate President David Long says no. He dismissed the idea that they would have a special assembly. Now, what do we know about Democrats and about progressives and big government liberals? What do? What did they do after the Newtown excuse? In Connecticut, in New York, in Colorado. They held, especially up in Connecticut, New York, special emergency sessions. This is how Democrats and progressive statists, this is how they shove stuff through without anyone having time to think about it or read it or find out what's in the bill, is they declare a state of emergency. This is such a state of emergency that we have to have a special session, bring people in, and pass laws of which we have no idea what the consequences are going to be. But we have to do something. It's that's what old Dan Carden here from the NWI Times seems to be leaning towards. He's leaning towards we have to do something. Well, what if that something is wrong? What if that something is unconstitutional? What if that something actually makes the problem worse instead of better? Well, it doesn't matter. We have to do something. And it says, under the Indiana Constitution, Republican Governor Mike Pence can call see what Dan's doing here? He's throwing the R word out every other sentence to make it seem like those people, they don't care about you. They just want you to die. They just want the guns to kill you. They don't care if the gun violence is going to kill you because they're Republicans, and Republicans are mean and evil and nasty. It says Republican Governor Mike Pence can call the Republican-controlled General Assembly into session anytime if there is, quote, the public welfare shall require it as an emergency session. But David Long, sees no reason to rush. It is a major social problem that has many moving parts, and there isn't just one answer, he said. But whatever we can do at a legislative level, we'll consider doing absolutely. And it goes on. The story goes on. But here's what we need to know from this is we want to congratulate the governor and the president of the Senate for not succumbing to this pressure of these ninnies, these statists, of these. Go ahead and fill in the blank so I don't say I don't say a bad word, Jerry.
We'll just let our audience's imagination fill in the blank. And my favorite quote from David Long is, "People that are law-abiding citizens aren't the ones causing these problems." He said, "These are criminals, and we have to remember that when we look at this." And that's coming from a politician.
Wow, you mean we actually have to hold human beings responsible for their behavior? What? You can't hold you Republicans. You're always wanting to hold humans responsible for their behavior. And that's just not right, because humans can't be held responsible for their behavior, no matter what it is, whether it's guns, whether it's fornication, whatever it is. Humans can't be held responsible. They can't be responsible.
Implements.
They can't be responsible to feed themselves, to house themselves, to clothe themselves, to have utility. They can't be responsible for that. Come on, you mean, evil Republicans. So, how are we doing, Jerry? We got time for this last silly story?
Yeah, we're just passing 30 minutes.
Okay. Well, why don't you let's give him a bonus. We haven't hit our buddy Tiny Tim up this week. Let's give him that.
Tiptoe through the window, by the window, that is where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
Oh, that music always brings a smile to my face, because it tells me that something really, really ridiculous and stupid is coming up. And I'm sure, well, I would like to think that you guys out there in the Student of the Gun audience, when you hear that, you're like, oh, this is going to be stupid. I cannot wait to hear what it is. Now, many of you who follow social media and you follow the news have probably heard this, but just in case you hadn't, this story comes to us from NBCnews.com. And the title is "Police Chief in Uniform Told to Leave Gun Outside of IKEA," IKEA, and that is a cheap, crappy furniture store. And according to the opening statement, it says, "In 35 years of law enforcement," says Tacoma Park Police Chief, "he's never had this happen. He's never had a store tell him that he would have to leave his service weapon in his car or leave the store, especially when he was in uniform." And you're like, a Dawood? And, there's several ways to look at this story. And according to the story, it says that the chief walked into this IKEA store to look for furniture for his daughter's apartment or something like that, his daughter's college apartment or whatever. And he's in uniform in the store, right? And he's approached by, what is it, the store's, was it security? Oh, yeah. The store's loss prevention officer approaches him and says... He says, "We have a no firearms policy, and either you're going to leave, or you can lock your gun in your car." He said the store has signs posted in the front that read, "Weapons-free environment."
My mind is a weapon, so I'm obviously not allowed in that store.
That's right. Your mind is the ultimate weapon. All right. Number one, IKEA, you get the Vagination Award, because you're total vages. You get that award for the week. And number two, having been a policeman at one point in time in my life, and having worn a uniform and a gun and all that stuff, I know where this guy's coming from. I told you guys a story about going to the elementary school to do the officer-friendly thing for the little third graders, and having the principal asked me if I wouldn't mind leaving my gun at home and not bringing the gun in there, because apparently we need to fear guns, police officers with guns. Now, there's some police officers with guns we probably should fear, but in this case, I'm going to share something with you guys, and I thought, erroneously, obviously, that everybody out there in the Student of the Gun audience, everyone in the gun world, would be familiar with the term. And this term it was used. I was introduced to this term by Colonel Jeff Cooper, the late Colonel Jeff Cooper. And as many of you know, you old school guys, Jeff Cooper wrote the back page column for Guns and Ammo for many, 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 many years. And this term Jeff used, he used it in public, he used it in print, he used it all the time, and it's called a hoplophobe or hoplophobia. And hoplophobia is the irrational fear of weapons. And so you have people in the world that are hoplophobes. They have an irrational fear. They don't even know why. It's like people that are afraid of being outside or of water or whatever. And hoplophobes are people that have an irrational fear of weapons. And what we see here is we see hoplophobia on display. Did the loss prevention officer really think that the chief of police posed a threat to the safety of the shoppers in their crappy, cheap furniture store? Is that what he thought? Was he thinking, oh, man, I've got to step in and I have to stop this uniformed police officer from shopping in our store because he has a gun on? Because what? Because guns are inherently evil. And, you, sir, well, and your whole store, you get the Vagination Award for the week. And what I would say, being the froggy guy I am, I'm a little bit froggy. And I know a little bit about jurisdiction. I know a little bit about legal jurisdiction. And I don't know if this officer, was he in his own city? Because if this IKEA store was in this guy's jurisdiction, first of all, from a legal standpoint, he could have told that guy to go pound sand, to go urinate up somebody else's rope. Okay, and what I have to say is, Mr. Loss Prevention Officer. So let's say you approach a uniformed policeman and he's got a gun on. You're really scared of guns. And you don't like guns, and guns are bad. And you tell him he has to leave or go lock his gun in there. Or what? Or what? Or what, British Bobby with no gun? What are you going to do about it? Call someone with a gun to make me leave, you moron? That's what I'm saying. It's a good thing I was in there, because that's what would have come out of my mouth. Is, or what, Loss Prevention Officer? Are you going to physically remove me from the building? No. What are you going to do? So what is the Loss Prevention Officer going to do? Is he going to, let's say the chief's a little bit froggy like yours truly here, and he says to him, piss off. I don't want to hear it. Go hump somebody else's leg, Junior. Go away. And he's like, no, you have to leave. Or what? You gonna put hands on me? No. So is the Loss Prevention Officer going to dial 911 and call armed police officers to come into the IKEA store to remove the chief? But by their own policy, the responding officers, are they going to have to stop at the door, lock their guns in their car, and come into the... And they can't bring anything in with them, because a taser is a weapon. Pepper spray is a weapon. A baton's a weapon. They're in a weapons-free environment. You stupid hippies. You moronic hippies. Do you not even understand how... I can't... Now... On one hand, you say that because I'm like, or what? Or what are you going to do? What are you going to do, you moronic hippie? But on the other hand, what I would say is, and I'm sure what a lot of you guys are saying is, welcome to the party, Sparky. Welcome to the idiot party. We citizens, law-abiding citizens of the United States of America, we have been abused. We have been, what do I want to say? Discriminated against. Law-abiding armed citizens are discriminated against every day.
You can't discriminate against a Muslim. Who else? Oh, you can't discriminate against a gay person or somebody that doesn't know their sexuality. Or
people
but
that
you
are
can
questioning their
Christians
gender.
and gun owners are fair game.
Yeah, you can discriminate against Christians and gun owners in America. Those are both fair game. So on the other hand, I would say to this police officer, maybe, and they're like, oh no, and then of course IKEA, they after the story breaks, they backpedal. And they're like, oh no, we didn't mean that police officers, we make a special exemption for them. Well, that's crap too. Why do you think they need to have a special exemption? Well, because why? I'm not a criminal. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I can lawfully own and carry a gun. Why does there need to be an exemption? And that's something you need to think about as well. But what I would say in this story, this story is so full of stupidity and insanity and hoplophobia. And I hope that this chief, I hope he takes this as a life lesson. I'm afraid that what they'll do, and a lot of my brothers in blue in polyester uniforms, you want special exemptions for everything for you because you're special. But let me tell you what, brothers, you're not always going to be in that uniform. At some point in time, you're going to have to be back in the lowly ranks of the citizen again. And then all these stupid rules that apply to the peasants are going to apply to you as well. So before you get on your high horse about we need special exemptions and the laws don't apply to us, you might want to consider the fact that the laws should apply to every responsible citizen and that more laws are not the answer. Maybe it's the stopping bad people and holding humans responsible. Maybe that's the answer.
And one of the things that the officer brought up is that it would be ludicrous if he had to put his gun in if he had to lock his gun in a commercial parking lot. And why is that? That's for a couple of reasons. Is one, you don't have your gun on you, which is have a gun on you all the time.
If you're in uniform, I'm going to give you this. If you're in uniform as a police officer, part of the uniform is a sidearm. And if you don't have, and that's what I told that nitwit, that ninny chick at the elementary school when she's like, oh, I want you to come do the thing for the kids, but don't bring your gun. I said, the gun is part of my uniform, ninny. So, yeah, we thought you guys would appreciate that story if you hadn't caught up to it. And of course, we thought you would appreciate the student of the gun take on that particular story. So, I would say, what is our chief friend's name here? Our chief friend, Alan Goldberg. Alan, welcome to my world. Welcome to the American citizens' world. Welcome to the world of discrimination and stupidity. So, and we hope that you will take this lesson and think, well, maybe we need to tell these idiot liberal hippies to shut up, and we're not listening to them anymore. And I don't know about you guys, but Jared, I don't think there's any IKEA stores in our area, are there?
I think the closest one's like Atlanta or something.
Yeah, we don't have any around here. I wouldn't shop for their crappy furniture anyway, but yeah. Folks, we have too much fun here. Is there such a thing as too much fun, Jared?
No, I like having fun. What does Rush say? Too much. Having
more fun than a human being should be allowed to have. That's us. That's all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, thank you for joining us for yet another segment of Student of the Gun Radio. We're glad that you're out there. And if you are a eunuch, you can take this moment to go ahead and get on your keyboard and write us hate mail because we know you've got it all ready to go there. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to watch Student of the Gun TV, Dish Network, Channel 266, Monday nights at 9. You can also watch it on Shentel HD cable. You can watch it on TV Gone Wild or wilderness.tv.com. And you can watch it on the Roku app, the Apple TV app, the Chromecast app. And don't forget that every week after the show airs on television, it airs on the TV, and then Jared puts it up on studentofthegun.com. You can watch episodes there just from any internet-capable device.
And then after they rerun, they will be available on the Student of the Gun mobile app that you can get on Google Play or the iTunes store. So go do that.
In the archives? Is that
No, I'm talking about in the app.
Oh, okay. After
the TV app, I'll release them on the feed, which will push to the app.
Okay. And don't forget, the app is free. The Student of the Gun mobile app. Put it on your Android phone, your iPad, your iPhone, all your iDevices. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to say that anymore. Hey, you. Yeah, you sitting out there on the treadmill.
Why are you sitting on a treadmill?
Hey, you sitting naked. What is it? What is the Pink Floyd lyric? I just screwed it up. Sitting naked by the phone. Can you help me? No. I know some of you guys out there, some of you children of the 70s and 80s, you're like, is he trying to drop Pink Floyd lyrics on us? You just need to stop that. You need to stop that and go get a drink of water. All right, folks. Enough hilarity for this week. Remember, you are a beginner once. You should be a student for life.